All right, Warren. So last night they replayed the championship game. It was all over LSU Twitter. It's always a pleasure for me to sit there and rewatch this game and rethink of the memories because I was, an 11-year-old, and it was like the height of my LSU baseball fandom. And to see you hit the walk-off home run. So I know you've told so many stories before, but you do have a moment. And I always cherish me being able to have a moment that LSU fans feel like is worthy to talk about with the '07 Florida game and the fourth downs. Like, I will sit there and I will answer any question, and it brings back some great memories for me. But I've got to ask you this because you get it more than I do. How many times do you think you've had a conversation about that home run in your lifetime?
A lot. I wouldn't say, people have asked me, does it come up every day? It doesn't come up every day, but I bet a week has not gone by in the last 24
Yeah.
years where that something hasn't come up about it or someone asked me. So it's great. I mean, I've got to meet tons of people over the years that if that moment hadn't happened, they would have had no reason to come up and talk to me or say hi. So it's been great.
Now, when you go back and they replay the game, and do you watch it? Do you watch the replays of the game? Like last night, it was all over the place. And I know you're not a big social media guy, but it was really all of the buzz. And so, do you go back and watch that game when it's on the SEC network?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I love watching it again. It's a fun game to watch. Real fun last night because ended up about 18 or 20 of my teammates from that team. We were on a group text and kind of making comments back and forth as the game was going on. So that was fun to kind of, in a way, as best we can in 2020, watch it together and have a good time.
Talking to Warren Morris here on Hang with Hester. Warren, you're obviously, everybody always constantly wants to ask you about the home run itself. Rewatching the game last night, anything reveal itself to you? Anything new?
No, nothing new. It's kind of funny to see equipment and those Converse spikes we're wearing. They don't even make those anymore.
Looks
But
like the black leather gloves you had back then, the batting gloves.
right, just old school. It was fun to get to see old Rosenblatt Stadium. I miss that place. The new stadium in Omaha is great, but there's nothing like Rosenblatt. The fans are on top of you. So no, I wouldn't have missed watching that.
All right, so there's a rumor out there that everybody always talks about Eddie Furnace playing that game with a broken leg. Like, how in the world, if that is true, how can you play a game with a broken leg?
Yeah, that's a new one on me. I've never heard that one, and I don't know how much truth there is to it. Yeah, Eddie wasn't the fastest person anyway.
So they thought he had a broken leg, right?
Right. Maybe that was part of it.
Catching up with Warren Morris here. And when you look at the path that you went through that World Series, y'all weren't the one seed. Alabama was, in fact, the one seed. And I'll ask you this question because Alabama got beat for that first time in the second round by Miami, the team you ended up facing there in the championship. When you saw them beat Alabama 15-1, do you remember that opening up your eyes like, man, this Miami squad must be the real deal if they just beat Alabama 15-1 in the second round of the College World Series?
Yeah, we were aware of the other side of the bracket and how Miami just blew through and were blowing guys out and were really on a hot streak. They talked about last night in the game, their batting averages, just how well they had done all season. But I don't know. We didn't really dwell on it. I think we just kind of felt as a team we were, as corny as it sounds, we're kind of a team of destiny, and somehow, some way, we were going to win it. And I never, in my wildest dreams, thought it would be a home run that I hit to end the game. But I just, even when we got behind, I didn't really feel like we weren't going to win this thing. I just knew somehow, some way, we're going to win it. And they're a great team, but I think the Tigers came out on top, so it was fun to watch it again.
Anonymous user in the huddle, Warren, is asking about one of the most famous images, which is obviously Alex Cora just lying on the dirt, distraught. When you were rounding the bases, did you see Cora? Did any of that go through your mind?
Oh, absolutely. No, everything happened so fast. It was first pitch, ball gets over the fence. Before you know it, I'm coming out of the box trying to get a double, and it goes over. And, I start jumping around. Our first base coach is jumping. I realize it's a home run, but it really wasn't until I saw all of those Miami guys on the ground that I realized, wait a minute, that's not just a home run. We just won the national championship.
Oh, no way.
Warren, I can't imagine winning everything on a walk-off.
No.
I've only had the opportunity in my football career to have one walk-off, and we talked about it last week. It was the 2008 playoffs, Chargers versus Colts. Darren Sproles in overtime, bust a 25-yard run. We walk it off, and the celebration of that and the feeling I had in that moment to be able to walk a game off was fantastic. And that was only for a wild card round playoff game. To win a national championship, I can't imagine the feeling that you had knowing that this season is over and I just ended it.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I've shared that with people before. Like in my entire sports, anything I've ever done, that's the feeling. That's what you do, all the hard work, everything to get for. It's not for the statistics or the awards, but the ability to come through and, when the game's on the line, do it and win it for your team. I think that's what draws people to sports. I know that for me is my proudest moment about any of that was for a guy who had to sit and watch most of the season injured to be able to be that exclamation mark at the end. That's special.
Yeah, I mean, you did the thing that, like Jake's talking about, when you're a little kid and you're playing outside, it's like all you ever dream of, or you're shooting a basketball, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you did it. You accomplished the dream. What was it like that night? You and the boys, y'all had some pops. What'd you get into post natty after? Like what? They say I'm going to Disneyland. What's the first thing you do when you walk off a natty?
Well, I'll tell you this. It's a true story. After the game, in college, everybody gets on the bus and you head back to the hotel. Well, somehow in the madness and chaos of everything, interviews and all, I look around and the bus has left me. So, I'm stranded at Rosenblatt. I did find my dad was still there, and so I walk through the neighborhoods around Rosenblatt to where he had parked, and I'm in full uniform and ride in the car with him back to the hotel because everybody's already gone.
Wait, what did Coach Skip say to you when he realized that he had left you?
Well, it took me a while to find everybody, but once I did find them, we were good. But yeah, I guess everybody was so excited they didn't realize I wasn't there.
How in the world do you leave Warren Morris at
the
stadium? Skip, we gotta get Skip on the phone now. I mean, T-Bob, can you imagine being there at that game and being an LSU or a Miami fan and being like, wait a minute, that's the guy that just walked this thing off, and he's walking trying to find his dad's car right now in the parking lot. Did you get stopped at all, Warren?
Oh yeah, no, I signed a few autographs in front yards.
That is wild, dude. I can't even really fathom that. Wait, what's the reaction when you show up? Warren was like, "Hey, Warren, what's up, dude? Welcome."
Then I can't find anybody either. So it took a while just to catch up with everybody. But I do remember, once I did get back to my room and you're taking a shower and getting ready or whatever, that it just happened to be SportsCenter was doing their loop, and
wow.
I mean, I just had to do a double take. Wow, that's me right there on SportsCenter. So that was pretty special. And it was just me in the room watching that.
That is one of the premier feelings is a shower after a big win, because you're like when you're at home alone, not even the team shower, when you're at home alone, because it's the first time that you really ruminate on what you just did. I used to love having a nice beer in the shower. just a little, it's a little cherry on top.
Hey, Warren, I've got to ask you, because you said you saw yourself on SportsCenter. That was different then, because the SEC network now does a fantastic job of covering college baseball, and it's become more in vogue as far as national media. And the Pac-12 and the SEC and the ACC put so much resources. Now the Big Ten is even putting resources into baseball. But at that time, in 1996, for there to be a college baseball highlight on SportsCenter, that had to be so big in that moment.
Oh yeah, it was a different world. Those days, I remember there were just a few games during the season that were on TV, and that was a big deal. Like, hey, we're going to be on TV for this game, and to go to Omaha and all the games be on, and like to have your highlight kind of featured on SportsCenter that night. That was pretty awesome for a 22-year-old kid.
Hey, Warren, I cannot thank you enough. It was so much fun to yet again relive the magic last night there, watching the replay of that 1996 championship game. I appreciate you giving us a couple minutes here on Hanging with Hester.
Anytime. Thanks, guys. Look forward to getting some LSU sports going again.